Hey everyone, what's up? It's Babylonius from PeakofSerenity.com, formerly of WalkingTheWind.com. Um, here with another artifact guide for you. I highly recommend, if you're interested in knowing more about the artifact, that you check out my first guide. I'll put a link in the description. This guide is going to focus primarily on using the artifact path once you have kind of completed the first step of your artifact. So I'll go through the first step relatively quickly, since it is covered in another video, and then we'll get to the new stuff. Alright, so first you're going to start with Strike of the Windlord, and Dark Skies, because you have to. And then typically people go to the left or counterclockwise. At this point, with the level of artifact knowledge, you can kind of skip around a little bit more. Typically, the way we originally recommended it, you wanted to go all the way around, pick up Tornado Kicks, then transfer the power, Tiger Claws, then finally get Crosswinds, then come back and get Gale Burst. Then finish up with Power of 1,000 Cranes, not this one, sorry. Strength of Zuin, Healing Winds, and then Good Karma, really whenever you want. With the level of artifact knowledge that you can get, things go much faster. So if you want to grab Gale Bursts on your way around and really just go entirely clockwise, that's fine too. The artifact should be relatively easy to level up. So once you've finished this initial central area, you're going to come over and hit Windborne Blows, which was the previous kind of artifact power dump trait. Increases your damage by 5%. And you're going to pop over here literally because you have to. As you can see, these down here are not functioning until you get Windborne Blows. Then you can come over here. And you may also notice that all of these switched. All of the ones that were previously 3 out of 3 are now 3 out of 4. You gain an additional rank or possible rank in those traits. So then the next step you're going to do is you're going to take this Ferocity of the Broken Temple. This increases your damage and your stamina by 10%. Pretty much a no-brainer. So then here you have a little bit of a choice. What you can do and what I did, even though it's not what I recommend, is you can pick up a point in Fists of the Wind and Rising Winds if you wish. But I recommend coming over here and grabbing Split Personality. It decreases the cooldown of Serenity and Storm, Earth, and Fire by 5 seconds piece. So at rank 4 out of 4, you decrease them by 20 seconds. 20 seconds out of 90 is a pretty reasonable decrease. It helps them to line up with... it helps Serenity to line up with Strike of the Windlord, because Strike of the Windlord is a 40-second cooldown. So this reduces Serenity and Storm, Earth, and Fire to a 70-second cooldown. Strike of the Windlord being 80 seconds, between two. It gives you a nice leeway to make sure that you always get a strike inside of those buffs. So then you're going to grab Master of Combination. Master of Combination grants you and 4 allies 60 mastery for 6 seconds anytime you trigger combo strikes. It's got roughly a 2 procs, although it's technically a little bit closer, right around 3 procs per minute. And it lasts for 6 seconds. So it's not a ton of mastery, but it never hurts, and you get it just kind of from doing your normal things. So then you're going to hop over here to Thunder Fist. And Thunder Fist is the new golden trait. Little gold dragon around it is what indicates that. So Thunder Fist, what it does is when you cast Strike of the Windlord, you get a stack of the Thunder Fist buff for each enemy that you hit with Strike of the Windlord. Thunder Fist discharges upon your next melee attack, your next auto attack, dealing 500% of your attack power as nature damage to that target. It is specifically single target. You gain stacks based on the amount of targets you hit, but the damage it puts out is specifically single target. And the way this trait is designed, it's designed to be a little bit of a single target boost in an AoE situation. Gives you a little bit more incentive to make sure that you hit a lot of targets with Strike of the Windlord, and helps you do a little bit more priority target damage, say to the boss. For example, on a fight like Spellblade Alluriel, if you hit all of the ice ads with a Strike of the Windlord, your Thunder Fist will do a pretty decent chunk of damage on the Spellblade or whatever target you're targeting at that time. So it's a relatively, decent amount of damage. It's not a ton, but it's relatively consistent with some of the other increases. So once you pick up Thunder Fist, as you'll notice, this last one, Concordance of the Legion Fall, is not quite, you can't click it. So what you're going to want to do is you have to fill in all of these 3 out of 4s and make them all 4 out of 4s. So typically what you're going to want to do is pick up Fist of the Wind, followed by Rising Winds. Those are the 2 largest increases. Then you have a little bit of a choice. Power of 1,000 Cranes is a decent amount of AoE damage, so I recommend picking that up. This may or may not be consistent with the picture on my site. It shouldn't be very far off. At this point, then you have a choice between Tiger Claws and Inner Peace. I personally like Inner Peace because it just increases the kind of leeway time before you hit energy cap, but in reality I believe Tiger Claws is technically a little bit more damage. So you're going to put a point into Tiger Claws. Then you can grab Strength of Zuin for a little bit stronger blackout kick chance, or you can grab Inner Peace. So for the sake of argument, I'm going to grab Inner Peace here. Then come up to Strength of Zuin. And then really you've kind of completed the damage increasing traits. Then you can pick, between Death Art, Light on your feet, and Healing Winds. You can kind of get them in whatever order you want. For this one, I'll go with Healing Winds, then Death Art, then Light on your feet. And as you can see, once I have finished filling in all of these, this opens Concordance of the Legion Fall. And what this does is Concordance it's the new artifact power dump trait. So it has up to 50 ranks. Each rank provides an additional, as you can see when I click here, it provides an additional 200 of primary stats, so that is agility for Windwalkers. So you can figure it's essentially 1800 plus 200 per rank. And what it does is it gives you a 10-second buff with that amount of agility. You get roughly 1.37 procs per minute is what it says in the tooltip, and that's pretty consistent with testing. Obviously, proc per minute are slightly affected by haste, so keep that in mind. But basically, that's what it does, is it gives you a proc called Concordance of the Legion Fall, and then you just stack here for the rest of your WoW playing days. You stack it all the way up, and you keep going and going and going and going, and then at 50 out of 50, it stacks all the way up to 11,800. That is crazy. As you can see at the top, it requires 865 billion? No. Trillion? Yes, trillion artifact power. Artifact knowledge does rank up to 50. As previously it was 25, but that's still a lot of time. So it's going to be a while before anyone hits 50. It's probably going to be unreasonable for anyone to expect to reach 50. If you're a medium or a casual player, there certainly will be people who hit 50 because there are always people who are going to push the limits. But Blizzard kind of put the cap on this as a thing that you will always have something to do. Always something to push for. So it's actually a surprisingly small increase. It amounts to, about 400 or so agility on average. I figure it's 10 seconds over 60. So at the beginning, I should say it's the difference between one trait and the next is only 200 over 10 seconds. So that difference is about 35 agility on average, maybe closer to 50. But yeah, so once you get 1 point in it, additional points are not quite a huge bonus. It's just to give you something to do with your artifact power. So obviously the first big jump is to get that first point in it. But after that, if you wanted to spend some time with your other artifacts, if you hadn't been doing that already, then that's certainly fine. Or if you just want to keep pumping things into your Windwalker artifact, then you will get a little bit of a gain. It is a buff that you're going to want to try and line things up for. 2,000 agility is a pretty decent chunk, especially if you eventually work it up to nearly 12,000 agility. So hopefully this answers a lot more questions than it creates. Things are pretty straightforward. Just to kind of recap, you're going to go through typically counterclockwise. Initially, Once you fill it up, then you come over here, hit Windborne Blows. From Windborne Blows, you're going to go Ferocity, Split Personality, Masters Combination, and Thunder Fist. Then from Thunder Fist, Fists of the Wind, Rising Winds. Then you can kind of decide between Power of 1,000 Cranes, Strength of Zuin, Tiger Claws, and Inner Peace. I recommend Power of 1,000 Cranes. And then kind of these three are going to be very minimally different between each other, so you can kind of pick whatever one you feel like it. If you, like me, enjoy Inner Peace and dislike the combo breaker mechanic, when I get to this point, I will certainly be going Inner Peace, Tiger Claws, then Strength of Zuin. Then you're going to finish with Death Art, Light on Your Feet, and Healing Winds. And then pump everything you have left for the rest of eternity into Concordance of the Legion Fall. So, like I said, I hope this creates more, answers more questions than it creates. If you want a lot more information about the artifact, how traits work, and stuff like that, I recommend you checking out my other artifact guide. You can also check out my guides and all the other content on PeakofSerenity.com. It is our new Monk website. Previously was just Walking the Wind, focused on Windwalkers, but we've broadened it to all specs. And if you enjoy this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I try to put out videos every once in a while. I also have podcasts and stuff on the website on PeakofSerenity.com. And if you enjoy the content that me or any of the other authors put out, there's quite a few of us, then please support us through Patreon or PayPal. That money goes to helping to increase the functionality of the site, as well as reimbursing a lot of these authors for all the time that they spend on working on the site. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope this has been informative, and